This is the best and only beginner's guide you're ever going to need in Siege. Why should you listen to me? I am champion every single season. I played in Challenger League, which is the league before Pro League, and I've been teaching players how to be good at this game for eternity. So in today's video, I'm going to be going over literally everything that you need to know without overflowing with information, but surface level things that you should know to put you on the right path. But this is our list right here, and at the very end, we'll be answering common questions. So if you are only looking for a specific thing, just look at the timestamps below and click on wherever you need. With that being said, if you know other new players who are they got aim that makes you go, send this to them. So the first thing I want to go over is tweaking your settings. Let's say your game is just fresh off the Steam download that took forever. We're going to hit the settings before we load into a game, and we're going to turn stun on dark glare. This way we get flashbanged. It's not like, you know, you're staring into the sun. Tendinitis, I would recommend it on muted. This would just help when you get flashbanged. It won't be as loud. Cycle inside camera is off. This way you can scroll through all the default cameras without having to like press certain buttons. Visible trajectory, always leave this on. This will help you a lot with when you're throwing grenades and stuff. Drone after prep, put this on manual, because if you were trying to aim, look for a spawn peak on attack, you're gonna want to turn this on so you can stay on your drone and it doesn't force you to get off. Text chat, honestly, if you don't give a fuck about arguing with weirdos on the internet, just disable this. But if you want to rage bait people, leave it on. Now for audio, for your dynamic range, this is basically your whole sound engine. So this is very important. I want you to try both. High basically makes loud noises loud over low volume stuff. For example, an explosion from a breaching charge will be louder than someone, you know, shuffling their arm in the game. But if it's low, someone's gunshots could be turned down a little bit, or an explosion, but someone's footsteps might be louder. Now, the new Siege X is a little weird. It's hard to explain, but just try both. Just turn the menu music off. We don't need to hear all that. Please do not ear rape your teammates. Turn your voice chat insensitivity a little bit down, like start it at 70. That way your mic isn't super loud, especially if you're on like a PC mic. Now moving on to display, this is how your game is gonna look. So right now it will always put you on auto. This defaults you to native resolution, which is 16:9. This is what every game kind of basically plays. But in Siege, if you want to make hitboxes a little bit larger and also slow down the movements of everyone, because if you think about it, if you're looking from a wide lens, things are going to move a lot faster. But if you're a lot closer, it's going to move a little bit slower. So you want to have a good balance. I would recommend trying 16:10. I think this is one that still looks good, but doesn't sacrifice any like recoil or visual disadvantages. So if I put my FOV on 60, this is how it's gonna look. You see how it's a lot more zoomed in, and it kind of looks like we're moving pretty slow, right? This can be kind of like awkward because, you know, it's a little too fast. And if we want to feel better with our gameplay without technically, you know, mechanically being better, a higher FOV will kind of make the game feel a lot more smoother and feel like you can see a lot more clearer. It's like if you were driving a car, you know, they talk about peripheral vision, right? You want to be able to see as much as you can in like the center of your screen. I would recommend you know, messing with the HUD and menu display. Some people kind of like, you know, not having to look up on their screen. So if you want that a little bit tighter, I recommend just putting it down a little bit like this. Now brightness, I just play on 58, but like the default is like 50 or 55, I think. So just kind of mess with this depending on your monitor and how bright your room is and, you know, how much sun you get. But I'm talking to Siege players. I don't think you guys see much sun anyways. But now that your game looks like a pro, we're going to go ahead and move on to your graphics. Now this is very different for everyone. For some reason, I don't know if it's just me, at the time of recording this video, higher settings tend to give me more FPS and consistent FPS. I don't know what it is, but although I have a $5,000 PC with the best parts right now, when I play all low settings, I get like worse. It gets worse FPS. So I recommend trying like medium for everything depending on your PC and see how that runs. Now next, for your controls, guys, sensitivity is what everyone needs to play the game. At default, I think it has this really high. I mean, you might be wondering, like, everyone's gonna be starting out on like 8.8 or like 7.7, but that's because you're on a different mouse multiplier ratio. To make it simpler, if you go to your game files, you can kind of tweak 7 here would then turn into 70 here. But then obviously you unlock 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 10 to really make it that accurate. So it's up to you, but for God's sake, long story short, lower your sense. You're a new player. you're going to struggle with recoil and looking around and panicking. A higher sense is not going to help you be more precise. And while you're at it, go to mouse ADS sensitivity. It's going to be on standard at first. I want you to unlock advanced. This way, you could be a lot more precise with your zoom magnification. But long story short, you should only be using 2.5 or lower, which is the ACOG that you see here, or a 1x is right here. If you're using the 3x, just don't do it. Just don't do it. It's too zoomed in. Next, gadget deployment and drone deployment. Put this on advanced. This way, if you were to put like a gadget down, it allows you just to hold down the mouse rather than forcing to be on the animation to finish it, and you might die doing that. Now, you might hear me say this a lot, but what's the best color for your optic? Guys, it's personal preference, along with almost all of these settings and how you play this game. But you have to understand there's a difference between personal preference and playing advantageous stuff in this game. But if I were to give you the best loadout for this gun to get no recoil on the gun, right? And then some like new players like, well, actually, I like, you know, this loadout along with extendo barrel and the worst grip in the game, angle grip. You know what? I feel like I'm gonna frag out. No, you're just gonna make recoil extremely hard for yourself. And last, turn screen shake off. This way, when you blow something up, your screen doesn't like move like this, and it will just make everything easier. And actually, it can affect your recoil as well on some guns. Okay, now that you have the best settings like a pro, let's talk about your headspace. Your expectations, chat. You need to understand that you are new and you will suck. Do not expect to play like the good people you see online, because that comes with at least a few days to a few, even months of playing. Now, not to scare you off, but Siege has one of the sharpest learning curves in all of gaming. It's because there's so many different factors that you can control. And if you don't control those factors, they can work against you. So I want you to be like a sponge and absorb every mistake and tell yourself to not do it again. The faster that you can do that, the more on track you will be to start improving at this game. Now, next, your map knowledge. How do you, memorize bomb sites? You really just do that just from the first few weeks of playing. You should memorize which is the most popular. Usually a second floor bomb site is popular on every single map at the first round, but that's also because everyone just picks what's top and bottom. Personally, I'm a top guy, but sometimes I will go on the bottom. You also need to understand where all the staircases are. Understanding where all the staircases are will help you get around the map a lot easier. And last, guys, default cameras. Shoot the default cameras. Oh my god, I have the awful loadout. Okay, anyways, but a default camera is something the defenders can go on, and you need to shoot this or else they can see where you spawn and ultimately see where you're pushing in from. So you can get one here. They don't change. They're always going to be on the same parts of the map. You should get in the habit of shooting all of these before you leave the spawn. And you can get them from some distance too. But as you can see, I'm taking out a lot of them right here. Just think about this as like insurance to not get your push seen. Next, for gunfights. How do you get good gunfights? Well, the first thing you need to know is you need to be aiming head level on every single barricade. Where's head level, you may ask? If you go up to any wood barricade on the map, you will see that there is a second buckle right here. So if I were to walk around and look at the second buckle, this is head level anywhere, no matter what. So if you think about it, imagine if you were not allowed to look up in this game. You're lucky because characters can't jump, which means they're going to be head level all the time unless they're on an elevated surface or a staircase. So let's say if I were to lock down every single door, an imaginary one. So if I were to go up here and aim head level, you see it's already going to be on the target. Now, this is very important, but you should be shooting in bursts in and out of cover, not the entire clip. For example, you should be doing this. You see how it controls the recoil, but if I were to walk in and just do this all the time, and what I'm saying? It makes your gameplay a lot sloppier in certain situations. This way, you keep yourself alive and also are a lot more precise on your first few shots, because in this game, if you don't land the first 1 to 3 bullets, you're dead. And last, guys, for a gunfight, stop panic spamming. I'm talking about when you're in a gunfight, why do you guys just... This is not like jujitsu, bro. They go guard and they just go on the floor. They're like, all right, come push me on the floor. Like, what are you doing? You're making yourself an easy target by, I'm just gonna shoot the floor and instantly headshot you. It's a mag, not a clip. Okay, moist, bro. Just put the $35 million revenue in the bag, bro. And guys, please don't instantly reload after every 10 bullets because you lose the whole mag. If you shoot like 5 bullets and reload, you're going to waste a lot of bullets over time. And it's just a bad habit. You know, you should be confident to kill someone with 15 bullets left in your gun. Now, moving on to game sense, the best tip for game sense I can give you guys is on attack, please get in the building. Get in the building faster. I know it's very tempting to kind of like, you know, lurk outside the windows, you know, at the doorways and kind of just observe the building. But even if you don't know the map, just see a door or a barricade and just go inside of it. Although you might, you know, jump into the enemy's hands, but dying more will teach you more in this game than winning all the time. And if you're on defense, do not do this every single round. If you do this every single round, you're going to learn nothing. You're just going to learn how to play and hold one angle, and you're not going to understand how players play and how you can adapt more. So if I start, you know, on defense, I start running around more, I'm not only going to absorb more map knowledge, I'm going to get in more gunfights, die more, learn more. Versus if I were to stay in the same spot with the same habits every single time. All right, next, what's the best operator to play? What operator should I be playing? You know, who should I buy? I don't have that much renown. I got you, bro. Listen, if you are a new player, you're gonna be broke. Like you're gonna be a high schooler fresh into college, bro. No money. So what you're going to do is you're going to play Thermite. Thermite basically can open up the metal walls. He's a very crucial for your team. Next is Ash. Ash is very fast. She's like the entry, the Call of Duty player for everyone. She can also open up soft breach walls. And last would be, I would say, Sledge, because he's also a soft breach, and learning how to manipulate and open up holes is very crucial for learning in this game. And they all have very good low recoil guns, so you don't have to worry about potato aiming. And even then, your team will appreciate you for playing these operators whether you know it or not. Now, the best DLC, in my opinion, are Ace, Hibana, Nomad, and Finka. With Ace, although he might be banned a lot because he's very strong, he is like the easiest operator to play. He does maximum reward with low risk, which is very rare in this game. Hibana is a more versatile hard breacher. Although she doesn't open up holes as big as Thermite, she can counter a lot more walls and holes, and this will just help you get around the map easier and attack. Finka, just think of Finka, she's like the medic of the team. Press one button and you're healed up. And very easy loadout to use. And Nomad basically is like a flank watcher. You know, she can put little gummies on the wall. You can shoot it anywhere, and if a defender walks into it, they get knocked back with a loud noise. So that way you can always watch your back, because you can't trust anybody in this game but yourself. Now for defense, I would recommend Mute, Doc, Capkin, and Bandit. Mute, very easy. Put the jammers down. It jams a lot of drones and utility. In high ranks, he's extremely strong. In the low ranks, his loadout's pretty easy to use. The recoil is a little bit tougher on the SMG-11, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Capkin, he has booby traps on doorways that they walk into it, they explode and they die. Very easy. Doc, same thing, medic of the team. And Bandit, this will teach you more about how important reinforcing the wall is and how gadgets can interact with you winning the round, and not just killing everyone. Next thing we want to learn is positioning. You need to pay attention to the clock. The clock you see up here, 2 minutes 50 seconds. When that starts, you should kind of use the clock as a positioning tip. So for example, in the first minute of the round, I'm going to walk around the bomb site and look for any attackers to contest. I don't really want to die, but I'll use utility to waste their time. So that way they can't start their push onto our site. And then maybe like halfway through the round, which is 1 minute and 30 seconds, I'm going to want to maybe come back to site. As a new player, you know, it's good to kind of just check in on if they're rushing, but you also just get to introduce yourself into new fights. And then obviously the last, 30 seconds of the round, you should be expecting your last few gunfights, and this is when it's okay to camp up a little bit. But besides using the time, if you don't know how you should be organizing your time, understand what map control is. Map control is basically contesting a certain room next to the bomb site to delay them from pushing. So this would be most important in the first half of the round. For example, if attackers are trying to open up this wall to plant the bomb, they're going to want to open this wall a lot. So if we can contest the window here, maybe play here, it's going to be very hard for them to try to, cross over the plan if I'm playing this position, which means they have to come clear me out first, which makes you more impactful to deal with. But basically, if I had to visualize it, it's like trying to make a maze for the attackers, and vice versa on attack. You're trying to get through, you know, these obstacles so that way you can eventually get the bomb down. So long story short, roam, get out of sight for the first half of the round, and then come back for the last half. All right, now, how do you actually improve in this game? What's the secret? You know, is it Red Bull? Is it, you know, downloading cheats? No, it's not a certain setting either. You need to be asking yourself, how could I have played that better? Anytime you die, how could I play that better? Now, do not overthink this. Don't like sometimes we get unlucky. And there's sometimes we just die and there's nothing we can do about it. So don't try to find an answer for an impossible question, because you're going to be just wasting your time. Always ask yourself, how can I play that better? Lower your ego, and just accept that you were wrong, man. You know, not everyone has to be the best in this game. Comes back up here. Understand that you're new and you will suck. And this is a learning process for you. Once you accept this, the answers will come to you naturally. And next is pay attention to your gameplay, guys. I know Siege is slow, but it doesn't mean your attention span has to be too. So avoid excess phone usage and live in the freaking moment. Because if you're not, once you die, you're not asking yourself how you could play better. You're scrolling your phone and you're watching videos you're not even going to remember the next 30 seconds. And then when the round comes back on, you don't know what operator you're playing, you don't know what bomb site you're going, you don't know where you're going in the round, and you're just there just to rinse and repeat of spawn, die, spawn, die, spawn, die. That is not how you get good at this game. You get good in this game when you have a plan, you execute it, and whatever outcome you get, you use that as information to get better, and that way you can improve, you can tweak it, you can make things better. And if you repeat this process, you will be ahead of all the new players and even players who haven't played this game because they're just lazy. Next, I know this is a big one, but making friends. A lot of people come onto Siege, but maybe their group doesn't want to play. Maybe they'd be like, oh, Siege sucks. Maybe you might just be a solo dolo dude. You should talk more in voice chat. You know, use push to talk. If you're on console, just go into game chat. But I know people don't use game chat a lot, so console, I recommend, you know, just inviting players to the party. Expect toxic people. Siege is a game with a toxic fan base, especially when you're bad at this game, which you will be bad when you're a new player. And you're going to have people who've been playing this game for a few months or a few years who are flaming you for being bad, but it's a little ironic that they've been playing this game for a long time and they're dog shit. So if they're annoying, guys, use the mute button. And a lot of people, like, when they come to my stream, they'll ask me how you deal with toxic people. Mute them. Especially if you are a girl. I've had multiple girls come here and say that game chat is toxic. How can they call out without, you know, getting told to be sent back to the kitchen or some shit like that? Use the mute button. But also, there are some good people out there, guys, which is why you should add them. Add them and be like, if they have good call outs or they work with you, you just have a good game, guys, just play a few games with each other. If they end up being a one trick and they drop 0 kills the next game, drop their ass. I'm joking, maybe not that harsh, but the whole point is, guys, you need to put yourself out there more. If everyone's having the mindset of, I'm not gonna talk unless other people do, no one talks. But there's always gonna be people talking in VC. Just literally play like a normal human being, give good call outs, don't scream in the mic too much, and I guarantee people are going to want to add you back. And if you are thinking about using public posts, like looking for group posts, or if your Discord PC, I would use those temporarily, but don't expect to find a gem there. Don't expect to find people who can play a long time, because those guys are just kind of coming and going, and sometimes they might be Zims or cheaters, so you have to be careful with that. And if they're just looking to boost people. But next, guys, callouts. If you are a copper or you've been playing this game for like 2 weeks, you have a free pass to say he's right there or on ping. Guys, what is right there? What is on ping? Maybe, okay, if you use Z ping or the red ping, okay, it kind of makes sense, but there could be a lot of different pings around the world in the game. And right there, what are you doing? You pointing on your screen? Right there, you just saw him. You're not being helpful, especially to someone who is new to this game. You're only gonna freak them out even more. So use the compass on the bottom of your screen. You will see, no matter what room you're in, it will tell you where you are at. So please use that. But the best way to give callouts, guys, number one, operator name. If you don't know the operator name, do your best to describe them. Don't just say dude with, you know, I don't know, fucking like dude with a mask on. Don't say that. Try your best to say the operator name. Say their location, not He's right there. Operator name, location, and HP. For example, Ace is in Master 50 HP. If you tell the HP, it kind of just helps people, you know, negotiate how much bullets you should put in them. Location's obviously self-explanatory, and name kind of helps with this. Yeah, name helps. Don't scream or be like, oh my God, this guy's so fast, bro. Oh my, bro, your teammates are still alive and they're trying to hear. Remember, operator name, location, and HP. And please don't be the person who just scrolls TikTok in their mic. That's a bad call out. Now that we're almost all well-rounded, we're now going to answer some common questions. Warm-ups. Should you warm up? Yes. Because as a new player, you need to get used to recoil control, pulling down while you shoot, but it's not necessary. I think ultimately, the best usage of your time, if you have work, if you have school, you don't have time to play this game for hours on end. So just, you know, play warm up for like, I don't know, 2 minutes and then hop into a game. But if you're warming up, you should look at it as revisiting muscle memory and getting blood into your hands and, you know, just getting hand-eye coordination down. Don't actually focus on how many targets you're shooting. Next, is it worth getting into the game in 2025? Yes. No matter what, guys, no matter if it's Siege or not, if you're interested in something, it's always the best time. There's no such thing as the most perfect time because at the moment you could feel different. In the future, you could feel different. So if you really want to try something, just go for it. Worst case, you don't like it, but then you move on to something else that you like. If you end up getting hooked on this game, it's the same as the big three things people get addicted to in this world. You got meth, heroin, and Siege. We all know the path that I went down. But people will tell you there's a lot of cheaters or like, I don't know, game's trash. I mean, that's just not very valid. Like if the game's trash, that's just extremely subjective. But yes, there's a lot of cheaters, but cheaters don't really come up all the time unless you're like in mid to high ranks. You might come across some here and there of them leveling up, but that's like maybe, I don't know, 20% of your overall experience in this game. Now, who is the best operator? There is no such thing as best operator. That's the thing about Siege is there's always like a high rotation of popular strong operators in the meta, but it depends on the player's playstyle. Are you a support? Are you a flex? Are you an entry? Are you aggressive? Are you passive? You know, there's a lot of different things that come up to that. So that's why you should play the operators that are recommended above and see which one you gravitate towards most. Now, what's the best attachments? The best attachment I would say for every single operator, if it's possible, is use the most magnified scope you can on attack. I would not recommend running 1Xs because you're attacking from range. ACOGs will help you the most, which is called Magnify B. I would recommend Flash Hider for most of your weapons. This basically, remember how I told you guys to shoot in bursts. This will help, you know, the first few bullets, but it reduces speed at which the muzzle moves upward while shooting. It moves more up the longer you shoot, but if you shoot in bursts, you constantly reset that. I would use Compensator maybe for like higher fire rate guns. I would test out between Flash, Compensator, and Muzzle Brake. Muzzle Brake is more for single shots. Compensator is more for horizontal recoil that moves like this. Flash Hider is more like this way of recoil. So test that out. By the end of the day, it's all personal preference. Now, gunfights. A quick thing on the gunfights earlier. Swing or be swung. I want you to repeat that every single time in your head the next time you hesitate to take a fight. Oh, I don't know. I don't really trust my gun skill. Swing or be swung. Guys, you will realize you will win a lot more fights if you just take them. 90% of the time, if you're an overthinker, you know, I sometimes deal with it sometimes too, but like in your head, you create like so many like scenarios and just weird things that are like, oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? But in this game, what if this guy kills me? What if I don't get this kill? What if my team, you know, I let down my team? Don't think about that. Just take that freaking gunfight and you'll realize 90% of all of that was just baloney, bro. It doesn't matter. And you're going to feel a lot more better about yourself when you just commit more. Also, but when you push the enemy first, it means you're getting Peeker's advantage. Peeker's advantage in this game is because Siege servers are just honestly so laggy, but it's just overall any game has it, is latency. If you're moving your character first, it's going to take some time to respond back to the server and that for the server to respond to the players. It's very like, it's like millisecond to like fractions of a second, but obviously that can matter a lot when the game where you have to land the first few shots determines who wins the fight. It means a lot. But yeah, guys, you know, it is better to die trying, die fighting than shrivel up in a corner and not knowing what your potential could have been. And last, one more, red ping versus Z ping. It's very important that you guys know the difference between red ping and Z ping. Z ping is because it's the Z button on our mouse, but there's always a button to like ping in game. So red ping, obviously this alerts on their screen that they have been spotted and they're gonna instantly move. Now, this works against you because obviously you can't work with that information anymore. It's like legal wall hacks basically. I would only red ping if you are trying to irritate the enemy. This could be in the last few seconds of a round. This could be to like, I don't know, to stop them in the track. If you want to irritate them to shoot your camera, red ping is okay. But guys, if you know who Valkyrie is, if you're a new player, the one with the blue cameras, they're hidden for a reason. Why are you red pinging on them? Oh, but it's gonna help my team, or like, I don't know, I'm gonna get the free points. Bro, this is not a scanning game. Use the Z ping, use the navigation if it's this button. This way, you can ping a lot more freely and it's silent. Only your team can see it. The other team cannot see it. This way, your cameras stay alive longer and you won't frustrate as many teammates. And you will most likely not get team killed the next round. If you red ping, Valkyrie C4 might come to you a little bit faster than you think. All right, and last, guys, how to handle vertical gameplay. Vertical gameplay is obviously opening up the floors above and below you. When you do this, you unlock a crazy amounts of angles. These obviously metal bars are to, you know, keep you up, but you can see through it and you can shoot through it. And just like in Star Wars, you have the high ground. If you have high ground, you are going to probably win the fight because you can shoot them in the head easier. It's a lot easier to look down on someone than it is to look up on someone. So if I were to like do this, you know, I can still kill people, but it won't be as easy. But if you're on defense, I would avoid the vertical. If you see vertical gameplay, I would just go to somewhere else where there's a hard floor or just somewhere safe. But if you are using it as an attacker, never stand in the middle of it. I'm exposed. I would recommend, you know, head glitching on it or peeking from the side so I can use the metal bars as some cover. And you can even zigzag to dodge some bullets sometimes. But guys, that is my beginner's guide as a pro player to you as a beginner. Remember, don't be so hard on yourself. Don't overthink too much. You don't suck. You're just new to the game. And everyone, including me, was new at some point. But all that matters is you do not give up. If you don't give up, good things will happen to you. And you'll be a lot happier playing this game. So don't take it too serious, but leave a like in this video if it did help. And I'll see you guys in the next one.